This WBTV high-definition program is sponsored by Time Warner Cable. WBTV News at 5 starts right now.
Boy, you can hear it in her scream. New at 5, the best Christmas gift these York County families could ask for. Husbands, wives, sons, and daughters home for the holidays.
Plus, a pretend panther. Breaking news on a scam involving someone impersonating tackle Travell Wharton.
But first at 5, snow and ice bearing the western United States. And guess what we're getting for Christmas? WBTV on your side, watching Power Doppler radar right now as this storm comes ever closer to the Carolinas. Good evening, I'm Jamie Bowl.
And I'm Sharon Smith. Maureen and Paul have the night off. This may not be the kind of white Christmas you want. Chief Meteorologist Eric Thomas in the Weather Alert Center now. Eric, what is the system we're talking about?
Oh, boy, Sharon, I'll tell you what, this system is getting its act together. And, in fact, on our Doppler radar network across the country, it's mammoth. And, in fact, let's take you to the other picture first. We're going to get back to the details on the local level in just a second. But we're talking about a lot of snow up around Chicago. That's moving northbound into Minneapolis. If you have flights, could be delays up that way. Then you see the rain extending down into tornado watches down into Texas. Now, we're not going to get the snow. We're not going to get the tornadoes. We are going to get something in between all of that. Have a look. That winter storm watch, it is actually in effect for freezing rain across the foothills and also the mountains. But understand this. This does not go into effect until tomorrow night. That's Christmas Eve extending into Christmas morning. So if you're heading out tonight, for instance, you're going to be just fine. But again, that freezing rain could be a problem for our northern counties. We'll talk more about that, the rest of your weather alert forecast coming up shortly.
All right, Eric, we'll see in a few minutes. Breaking news from east of uptown Charlotte tonight. Video just into our newsroom here. A family on Hawthorne Lane forced out of their house, and you can see why. That green van just smashed into it. Right now, it doesn't appear anyone was seriously injured. No word on if any tickets will be issued.
And Jamie, we have more breaking news. CMPD says someone is impersonating Carolina's Panther left tackle Travell Wharton. The team says the crook has been using a fake ID to dupe at least 4 people into investment scams involving the CIAA basketball tournament.
It's your name, you know, something that you work hard for, and to keep clean, and, you know, you have somebody doing this, it's kind of a shock, and, you know, I feel violated.
Well, a woman from Atlanta says she lost $3,500 in that scam. CMPD is looking for the man responsible.
The response was swift and effective. It was just 2 weeks ago. We told you soldiers from the Fort Mill 178th Engineer Battalion were stuck in Wisconsin. It would take $45 grand to get them home. Well, this morning, thanks to donations from WBTV viewers and some big local companies, all 200 soldiers were on these buses headed toward a big crowd of waiting friends and family. WBTV's Trent Ferris was in Fort Mill for the hellos, the hugs, and the kisses.
Family and friends learned the meaning of the old military saying, "Hurry up and wait," this morning at the Lowe's in Fort Mill. Kids were busy making last-minute gifts, toes were tapping, and a lot of texting.
This morning he said he wasn't that far away, and then he let on that he was in Johnson City, Tennessee.
Lindsay Wade has been tracking her husband's journey home from Wisconsin by text.
Last text that I got from him was at 9:12, and he said they were in Asheville, North Carolina.
She was one of many watching the clock.
When y'all gonna get here? Another hour and a half.
Are you serious?
Okay.
3 weeks ago, Lindsay didn't think her husband Josh Wade was coming home. Now she's getting her #1 gift on her Christmas list.
I thought we're finally going to get to celebrate our first Christmas together. We just got married in August.
Around 12:30, her gift arrived. Bonnie Hoagland had a husband and 2 sons on the bus.
And this one, and me, and him, and him, and him. We are so glad to have him home.
Her husband couldn't believe the support from the community.
Definitely nothing seemed like Christmas until today.
Next 10 days, you're just going to live it up?
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
That statement could go for the other 100-plus soldiers today.
Everybody have a good Christmas. Take care of your family. See you on the first. Platoon. Okay. Dismiss.
Fort Mill, Trent Ferris, WBTV, on your side.
Going to be a special Christmas for so many. The soldiers' homecoming, however, is brief. They return to Wisconsin on January 1st. An eyesore about to be out of sight. Demolition crews started tearing down the old Upton's department store on Independence Boulevard today. The building, dilapidated and run down for years, We're going to look into how this could clear the way for development for East Charlotte. That's coming up all new tonight at 5:30.
And we talk a lot about the shortcomings of the Mecklenburg County courts, but tonight a new system is speeding up the scales of justice. In October, guilty pleas in robbery and rape cases were up 24%, another 13% in November, and overall 30% more cases like that have been resolved since September. Right now, when you look at the holidays, getting the crooks prosecuted and in jail couldn't come at a better time. This is often the time of year police dread. Robberies tend to spike around the holidays, and there's just more opportunity for the bad guys. But thanks to some new efficiency inside the courthouse, a bunch of those bad guys just got taken off the street. In 1 week, prosecutors convicted 55 robbers, habitual felons, and rapists. One of them, Tristan Baxter, charged with a slew of robberies, just got 6 years. Another, Tanquell Jackson, is going away for almost 7. Both cases were prosecuted within 6 months. The average used to be 9 or more.
I'm just glad that we're finally to the point where we do have a new administrative plan, and it seems to be working.
That's Prosecutor Jeff Davis, head of the Crimes Against Persons team. Back in September, they cut out extra court sessions with attorneys, streamlined the process, and now get to the evidence faster.
The difference we see is that there are less cases getting continued. We have more guilty pleas and less not guilty pleas.
In the case of Tanquell Jackson, her victim told me over the phone,
"But I am glad it's behind me right now."
No more waiting, and she believes the sentence was fair, but she says the new system still needs improvement.
I wanted to be notified and communicated with much better than I had from the very start.
That's something we hear often from victims concerning the new process and the old. Yeah, she got a letter in the mail after the case was over. Unfortunately, too many cases and not enough people to update the victims. Now, as for the new system, the drug team should start next year, and it's already being done with property crimes like break-ins, and it seems to be working there.
We are tracking more breaking news tonight. Police say a gunman is holding 5 people hostage inside a post office in Whiteville, Virginia, in the southwestern part of the state. Word is 3 employees, 2 customers inside that building. We've also been told shots have been fired, but there have been no reports of any injuries. We'll continue to keep an eye on that story as it continues to unfold.
And this plane skids to a stop just 10 feet from the Caribbean Sea. Scary moments for 154 people aboard this morning. The American Airlines flight out of Washington, D.C. was landing in Jamaica when it somehow missed the runway. The impact cracked the fuselage and tore the engines off the plane. No one was seriously hurt.
Convicted conman Bernie Madoff in the hospital. Madoff moved to the medical ward of the Butner Correctional Facility in Granville County. A prison spokesperson not commenting on the 71-year-old's condition. Madoff serving a life sentence for cheating thousands of investors out of billions of dollars.
Well, the price of fame, time behind bars. Both Richard and Mayumi Heaney sentenced to jail for falsely reporting their son had drifted into the air in a weather balloon. You remember that story. Well, in court today, the couple's attorney tried to relieve Mrs. Heaney of any responsibility.
He has taken full and complete responsibility. Do not send his wife to jail. That is his plea. That would be something of a Christmas miracle.
Well, Richard Heaney will spend 90 days in jail, his wife just 20. The sentences will be served separately, and they don't start until next month.
That didn't work out so well for them in the end, did it not? Well, you've heard of wedding planners, right?
Right. Well, now some couples are hiring baby planners inside the home of one Carolina Panther who's paying for the convenience, coming up at 5:15.
I'm Steve Onesorge at the Burke County Animal Shelter, where officials tell me new laws coming on the books next year could mean overcrowding problems here.
And why inspectors are looking at the Amtrak line between the state capitol and the Queen City next. You're watching WBTV on your side at 5.